You returned home after an ordinary day at work. There was not much going on, just your usual office business, exactly like yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that, and so on. To be fair, it's not like you despised your life or were going through a bad patch. That couldn't be farther from reality. You felt content with how your life was going on since you had a stable job, a decent house, plus all the privacy that you needed. However, it is true that routine was tiring you out in some aspects. Doing the same shenanigans almost every day, while doing their job of keeping you busy, left you wanting more. It's not like you hated routine, in fact you would say you handled it better than your average Joe, but a part of you wanted to break free from the monotony of daily life and just relax. Either way, you enter your house, the cozy environment welcoming as always. You grab a bunch of snacks, you got rid of your work clothes, put on some comfy short pants and head directly to the couch, where the TV remote rested. You wondered what was on TV at that moment. After all, it was Friday night. You scrolled through the channels, nothing grabbing your interest. That's when you saw some weird unknown channel broadcasting The Jungle Book. One of your favorite movies. You had a lot of nostalgia towards that one. Especially towards one of the characters in that movie, that being Baloo the bear. You murmured his name with a smile, while rubbing your beard as you saw him on screen. Such a chill, laid-back character. Ever since you were a kid, Baloo was one of those characters that came to mind whenever you were going through a stressful time. You thought his attitude towards life was really endearing, letting go of all the worries in your life and such. So, adequate for a bear like him. His design complemented his way of living perfectly. A large and friendly bear. You wondered what Baloo would do in the situation you were in at the moment. If only he, what were you thinking? You scoffed it off and continued enjoying the movie. After a while, you couldn't help yourself but fall asleep in your couch for a bit. A few hours passed, when suddenly, you were waken up by some large stomps. You turned around your head, to see where those noises could be coming from. Perhaps you were imagining things anyways, it was already 2 a.m., and the movie was long over, so it was a perfect time to call it a day and head to bed. If only you knew that your day was far from over. You opened your door to your bedroom and... no way. This couldn't be possible. There was a large, gray bear standing on its two legs in the middle of your bedroom. You became paralyzed by the sheer sight of this bear. How had it entered your bedroom? But to add insult to injury, or the opposite, this wasn't any ordinary bear that just so happened to enter your bedroom. Why, not only because it seemed like this one was looking through your belongings with a hint of curiosity, but when it noticed your presence in the room, it turned around, and to your shock and disbelief, you recognized that roster. Yep, it was none other than Baloo, in all his cartoonish glory. I mean, his face, his fur, his claws, his body shape. He completely towered over you. There was no mistaking this. Baloo the bear was in your bedroom with you. You pinched yourself. This had to be a dream. I mean, Baloo was a fictional character, how could he be in your bedroom with you? You must be dreaming. But no, nothing happened. This was all real. Baloo smiled and took some steps towards you, making a big, large noise. You were absolutely terrified. You took some steps back, and even if you wanted to run for your life, there was something inside of you that froze you. Baloo saw this and gently raised his paws as a sign of peace, his smile still as reassuring as before.
Whoa, hold on, son, it's okay. I know you might be a bit, shocked at the sight of myself, but don't worry, I'm not here to hurt you by any means, son. See, I'm just your OL pal Baloo.
Hearing Baloo talk to you all of a sudden was both a relief and completely surreal. On one aspect, it was nice to hear that he didn't plan to cause you any harm or anything like that, and that he wasn't just any regular bear. But on the other side, Baloo the bear just talked to you. With a deep, sensual voice, exactly the same as the one in the movie. His voice and the calmness in his voice made you feel much more at ease. It almost felt like you were catching up with an old friend, in a sense. You lower your defenses for a moment and ask Baloo while stuttering if it was really him, as he literally doesn't exist. Baloo chuckled at your words.
Yep. It is really me, in the flesh, Baloo the bear. You seem, pretty stoked to see me from what I can see. Don't ya what? Never seen a bear in your life, heh? I'm just messing with ya. But yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you, son. I was waiting for you to appear your bedroom. I saw you were asleep, and said, why not, and made my way into your bedroom. I suppose I woke you up with my large steps, didn't I? Sorry for that, but I can barely control it. You know, you have some interesting stuff right here. You seem like a nice fella. I think you and I are gonna make good friends.
You still couldn't believe any of this. The way Baloo talked, his tone, his body movement. It looked like they were taken straight out from the movie. Everything was exactly as it was there. This was absolutely surreal yet wonderful at the same time. You were speechless.
What's the matter? Still got doubts this is happening? Come on. Give me a handshake then. Don't worry, I don't bite.
Baloo offered you one of his giant paws for a handshake. Despite your worries, you couldn't help but feel inclined towards giving him a handshake. Baloo's grip was firm and cozy. You could feel his fur touching your hand. Although it felt nice, you still had some worried inside of you. Baloo noticed this and smiled.
You know what, to hell with this. Come here. Haha.
When you least expected it, Baloo pulled you in with all his strength towards his big and fat furry chest, encasing you in a big tight bear hug. You were shocked at first, as you felt Baloo's fur brushing against your skin. You were surrounded by Baloo. But gradually, you started to feel a huge wave of relief and calmness washing over you. This was really the character you remembered. This was really the character you loved so much. This was really Baloo the bear. Soon enough, you found yourself returning the hug, embracing the embrace. Baloo sighed triumphantly as he saw you return the hug. This was the moment when he knew he had won you over. The muskiness of Baloo's fur was very noticeable. Despite that, you both were enjoying the hug. After a bit, Baloo lifted you up until you were face to face with him. It was crazy how tall Baloo was compared to you. You were so close to Baloo's face you could see his fur in big detail. You smiled at Baloo, and he could only chuckle as a response.
Well. You probably never thought you would be this close to your OL pal Baloo. Is that correct? It's fascinating how unpredictable life can be at times. You know, but it's okay. I'm right here with you after all. And, sorry if my scent or even my breath aren't, the best. I know we bears aren't best known for having the best smell, but it looks like you aren't minding it at all, which is really great. But yet, it's clear this is the first time you've ever been around a bear. I can tell, What about you touch my snout? Hey friend, I'm sure you'll be talk of town.
You nodded and put your hand on Baloo's snout. This was a real sight to behold, with you petting Baloo out of all people. His snout felt powerful, but you made sure to give Baloo a good massage. It seemed as if he was really liking it. But there was something else as well in Baloo's facial expression. It was almost as if he wanted to tell you something.
Whoa. That hit the spot. You know, for the first time you ever meet a bear, you know how to give a good pet. You got no idea how proud I am of you. Yeah, pretty nice indeed. Friend, there's something I need to tell you. So far I know all of this might have come off a bit out of nowhere. You know, me, Baloo, in your bedroom, and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. Heh, it's been really awesome so far. But there's a reason behind all of this. You see, friend, I have been searching for what's the best term to describe it, companion for a long time. Someone who, you know, can chill, relax, and enjoy the wonders of life with me. And, you want to know the best part, Hat? I think I hit the jackpot with you. I want you to become that company. Just think about it. Breaking free from the repetitive routine you're currently in would no doubt do you wonders, especially with someone like me on your side. So, what will it be?
You opened your eyes wide in surprise. This was literally the scenario you pictured in your head earlier, when you were watching the Jungle Book movie. The prospect of becoming Baloo's protege in some sense was thrilling to say the least. Plus, you could live all sorts of adventures instead of doing the same thing every day. How could you possibly say no? You enthusiastically nodded. Baloo laughed heartedly and placed you on one of his shoulders.
Attaboy. I expected nothing less from you. You have no idea how great it's gonna be. You and me. But first, if you wanna be my companion, I think you gotta look the part. Don't ya agree? I mean, the jungle is no place for a human such as yourself, friend. Luckily for us, however, I have had a gift for you with me this entire time. I placed it on your wardrobe before you came in. I always had a gut feeling you would agree to be my company, so that's why I brought it with me. So, let's go get it, shall we? I bet you're not gonna expect what it is.
Baloo walked over to your wardrobe with you on his shoulder. You were really curious to see what Baloo had in store for you. You didn't know what Baloo's gift could be. However, when Baloo opened the wardrobe, your expression changed to that of confused. There was what it seemed to look like a Baloo the Bear full-body mascot costume, ready to be worn. To be honest, it was incredibly well done. You could see the fur on the costume, the materials were insanely high quality. But you weren't too sure about it? Did Baloo want you to wear that costume of himself? You turned your head to Baloo's. He was really happy to finally show you this.
And there you have it. My gift for you. A full-body costume of none other than yours truly. It's pretty cool, right? I mean, it looks exactly like me. Well, except it's noticeably way smaller than me, though maybe. Heh. And you are gonna be wearing it. You gotta admit this is awesome. Like, look, friend, you may not see it now, but I made sure to make this costume as cozy and comfortable as possible. Its insides are made of cushy gray fur that just absorb you right inside the costume the second you slip into it, ensuring maximum comfiness. I also made sure to make the fur look as realistic as possible, to the point that, wait for it, it is literally made of my own fur. And let me tell you, being wrapped up inside that costume is probably one of the best feelings out there. You know, getting that Baloo experience in first person. And as to how I got a costume of such quality, heh, let's just say that I got my ways. But yeah, if you want to forget all about life's worries, then this costume is the gateway to it. Plus, I mean, come on. It's a costume of myself. So, are you ready? You don't seem to be all that confident about this whole costume shtick.
And Baloo was right. You actually weren't too sure about this. One thing was agreeing to becoming Baloo's friend, and the other was donning a costume of Baloo. I mean, you never thought you'd be wearing a costume like that. But Baloo, the character who one could say you looked up to, was giving you the chance to embody him, with all that implied. His attitude, his lifestyle. Baloo had put a lot of effort to make a costume of himself just for you. He even had his real fur on the costume. You couldn't say no to this, after all Baloo had done for you. You sigh, and tell Baloo that you will give the costume a try. This made Baloo extremely happy. As mentioned earlier, he wasn't too sure you were up for the Baloo costume. But now that you gave him the green light towards the costume, he knew he had you exactly where you wanted. Baloo slowly got you off his shoulder. Still with some insecurities, you reached for the costume. Even if it was smaller than Baloo, it was still taller than you. However, before you could do anything, Baloo quickly stopped you. Baloo explained that he would be in charge of putting you inside of the Baloo costume. The main reason being that it just seemed fitting that Baloo would be the one to put the costume based on him on you instead of yourself. In retrospect, it made a lot of sense. Baloo grabbed the costume's zipper, located in the back, and pulled it down. He opened it, revealing the costume's cushy insides, just like how Baloo had told you earlier. You gulped nervously, as Baloo waved you to come closer. It was time to put on the Baloo costume. Baloo put his giant paw on your back and began guiding you towards the costumes. He raised the costume's feet to make the suiting up easier. You could feel the cushy fur enveloping your legs, hugging them tightly, leaving no room for escape. After that, Baloo gently pushed your upper body, aka chest, stomach, arms, towards the costume's fabric. You could feel your skin brushing against the furry materials, sinking into them like if it were some type of quicksand. Baloo gently lifted the costume's arms, making it easier for your actual arms to go through the costume's holes. It took a bit to adjust your arms to that of the costumes. But whoa! Baloo was absolutely right. It felt awfully cozy and warm inside the costume thus far. You couldn't keep your eyes off Baloo as he helped you put on the costume. There was something poetic, in a sense, about Baloo being the one responsible of putting the costume based on himself on you. Anyways, after your entire body was placed inside the costume, Baloo pulled the costume's zipper up until your neck. Baloo put his two paws on your now furry shoulders, laughing at the sight.
Ha ha ha. How are you holding up so far, feeling that Baloo magic, yet you're seriously doing a great job? Gosh, I really can't wait to finish suiting you up. I mean, don't get me wrong. You are already looking fantastic. The costume fits you just as well as I expected. But, you know what they say. You gotta end on a good note.
Baloo went back to the wardrobe to get that one item to finish the suit up. That's right, he was getting the Baloo headpiece. He returned with the headpiece under his armpit. You were very excited to see where this all would lead to. Baloo played into that excitement of yours.
Look at this beauty. You could basically say this headpiece is a one-to-one recreation of my own head. And you're gonna be wearing it. How cool is it? My. This looks like a crowning ceremony, which in a way wouldn't be too far off from reality. Haha. So, are you ready, sir?
Without wasting any more time, Baloo started to descend the headpiece onto your head, savoring each second until your head was no longer visible as the headpiece was fully in place. You were now inside the full-body Baloo costume. You took a big, long breath inside the headpiece for the very first time. It was so incredibly musky in there, really reminiscent of Baloo's scent, like you had experienced beforehand. But it was far from annoying. You could even say the smell was charismatic, in a sense. But the costume itself, the definition of comfortable. This was your first time wearing a costume like this, and what a first impression. It was as if being wrapped in a giant blanket made of Baloo's fur. You stroked the costume's fur, seemingly pleased with the warmth it gave you. Baloo looked at you, expectant to hear your thoughts.
Buddy, how does it feel? You look absolutely incredible. You got no clue how great it is to see you donning that costume. Oh, it feels just as good as I described earlier, huh? I told ya, didn't I? Come on, let me see you take some steps inside that costume.
You nodded and took some steps forward. At first, the costume's weight was apparent, but the more you walked, the more seamless its weight was on you. It felt truly incredible. While this happened, the zipper in the back of the costume began to fuse in with the rest of the costume, leaving no traces of it behind. Of course, you were not aware of this. You were too occupied enjoying how cozy the Baloo costume was.
Yes. Yes. Amazing stuff, friend. Ha. You got no clue how it feels like to see someone wearing a costume of myself. It's sort of almost as if I'm extending my way of living down to you. I may know a thing or two about the effects of being inside a Baloo costume. First of all, I know, the smell. I mean, it wouldn't be a Baloo costume without it, but secondly, all those bare necessities. Can you feel them coursing through you? My friend, can you feel your body, your soul, just begging to be at peace? This is what this costume offers you. Haha.
Baloo pats your shoulder as he pulls you in with his arm, humming to the tune of the Bare Necessities song. Looked like he wanted you to join him. Baloo was genuinely happy he found someone like you so willing to join him. You actually sang a bit of the Bare Necessities song, but it came off muffled. Either way, you more than happily joined him while you two triumphantly walked together, shoulder to shoulder, around your room. Little did you know, this was only the start of your journey with Baloo. While you were dancing and enjoying with Baloo, you were unknowingly going through some interesting changes. The costume was starting to accommodate itself onto you. It was slowly but surely fusing to you. The costume's materials were getting more and more real, being replaced by real bear skin. As a result, the costume's belly started getting way bigger, resembling that of Baloo's. Despite all of this, you didn't even flinch. You felt different, but it's almost as if you were in some sort of trance by Baloo. As a result of the larger belly, you gradually start getting taller and taller, all while the costume fuses with your real body even more, to the point it was getting hard to believe it was a Baloo costume, even though it was already pretty hard to tell regardless. Now you stood at the same height as Baloo himself. You felt a new surge of power coursing through your new veins. You still were blissfully unaware of what was going on. Not Baloo though. He knew what you were going through, and he couldn't be nowhere happy to see that everything was going according to what he planned. The Baloo headpiece was long fused with the rest of your body, and the cushy materials of the headpiece gradually wrapped around your human face, binding it with the headpiece, which, in turn, was morphing into a real head. You could finally breathe air with your Baloo snout, same way you could now open your Baloo mouth, filled with sharp teeth. The adrenaline you felt when air entered through your snout. It was great. You weren't a guy inside a Baloo costume anymore. The Baloo costume had changed you into the actual Baloo the bear. Once the process was over, Baloo stopped walking around with you shoulder to shoulder. He placed his two paws on your furry shoulders, seemingly welcoming you to your new body. You opened your eyes and while, pleased to see Baloo, you quickly snapped out of it. You were confused as to how you now stood at the same height as Baloo. You looked down and you couldn't believe what you were seeing. You checked your new paws, your snout, your big fat belly. This couldn't be happening. You let out a huge scream and rapidly go over to the closest mirror to you. You stroke your fur, even more real than before. You checked your eyes, our mouth, with long, sharp bare teeth. And your voice. It was the same as Baloo's. Baloo could hear you panicking, so he slowly reached out to you.
Whoa. Hey there. Look, friend, I know you weren't expecting the costume to fuse with you, or anything like that, but there's no need to panic. After all, there's now nothing that can differentiate us, even your voice is now mine, and let me tell ya, you are looking great as me. But you never told me you were gonna transform me into you. I thought the costume was the only thing necessary, now look at me. I suppose I could have told you, but come on, where's the fun to that after all? Don't pretend like I didn't see you enjoy it, friend. Haha, us walking around the room like Baloo, I just know you couldn't get enough out of it. So please. I can only assure you the comfiest of experiences for you. Yeah, I guess you're right, Baloo. Sorry for overreacting. Becoming you is the best thing that could have happened to me, and I can't wait to enjoy my new lifestyle along with you.
You and Baloo came in for a bear hug, embracing your new identity and everything that implies. With the two of you side by side, there was nothing that could stop your bare necessities. After a bit, you both safely made it back to the jungle, where you both now live in absolute peace and tranquility. Maybe one day I can check up on you and see how you're doing. Perhaps you have another Baloo costume. I'm just kidding. Well, until next time, my bear friend, and enjoy the new bare necessities of your life.